Hi everyone, it's Frugal here. As always, I have my coffee because otherwise somebody might just get killed. So today let's talk about paying less tax in your property investment portfolio. So remember, in property, there are three things that you need to take note of, right? The first one is liability. How much liability do you want on your personal self? The next one is tax. How much tax do you want to pay? And then the third one is profit. How much profit do you actually want to make? Now these three things are three sides of a triangle, and you sort of need to decide like which one of these are the most important for me. Now if you're talking about tax, paying less tax, there are a couple of things that you can do to pay less tax. Now generally what it means is less tax means less profit, okay? But not necessarily. So let's do the first case saying less tax, less profit. Here's a scenario for you. I buy a property for 400,000 Rand and I take a bond out for 400,000 Rand. I deduct my income and take my income and I deduct my expenses. So that would be my levies, my rates and taxes, the water bill, everything that I basically have to pay personally, as well as then the interest that I pay to the bank. Now that means I'm making very, very little profit in the long run, well in the short run actually, and in the long run after 20 years when it's paid off and as I'm paying off less, it means that I'm actually making more money at the end. But in the beginning, because I'm making less money, I'm actually leveraging other people to pay off my property, which means less profit at the moment and a bigger tax break. But on the other hand, remember there are certain tax breaks and certain things that the government does to incentivize people. An example of this is Section 13(6), which basically means if you own 5 properties and it's in the same person or company's name, and it is a new or unused property, then you can deduct up to 100% off from tax over a period of 20 years. So what does that mean? Okay, here's the calculation. I buy 5 properties of 1 million Rand each, okay? And from that, I have a bond on all of them. Now, I do in the beginning pay very little tax as per the previous example, okay? But I can still deduct that from tax. Now, those 5 properties I bought from a developer. If I bought them from a developer, it means that they are unused, which means that we've actually not, somebody's not lived in them, but they are new. But the government classifies this as, and the source classifies this as unused. So I can then deduct 50% of the cost price of those properties from tax over a period of 20 years. If I am the developer, I can then go and say, excellent, I'm deducting 100% from tax. That is quite a bit of money. Just remember, if you do that, you need to remember that if you sell within 20 years, then you will need to pay that money back. It's called a clawback. So many people, what they do is they take the 5 properties, they buy it, and they buy it in a company, in a PTY Limited. And then because they've got it in there, the company gets the tax breaks, which really does go a long way. And if they want to sell it, they sell the company. They don't actually sell the property themselves. What an excellent loophole that is. There's also other ones, Section 13 Quin and Quat, which handles a lot about properties that are in certain areas that the government classifies as zones for development. That means that, for example, in the central parts of cities, that's not really great. They say if the developers come in there and they revamp the place and then they sell it for a small fortune, they can get tax breaks. Then people that buy it can get quite a few tax breaks and not pay the full amount of tax that they would on a rental property. So it's worth just checking that out and say, okay, well, for this property, how much income am I getting? How many expenses am I getting? What type of profit am I going to make? And is it actually worth it for me to make it happen? Now that you know a little bit more about tax breaks and paying less tax on my property in South Africa, have a wonderful day. Happy investing.